Hello YouTube, my name is Marie. Today we are doing a list video, and as you'll see by the title, today I'm going to be talking about some of the genres within K-dramas, but really within TV in general, because if I'm watching TV it's probably going to be a K-drama. These are just a few of the genres that I just don't gravitate towards. Of course there could be the chance that I do watch one of these types of shows and I do really enjoy it, but if it is falling within one of these genres, I've had to have been convinced. Or there must have been something other than the genre itself that made me want to watch it. And the very first one I'm going to talk about, I haven't scripted this, so I don't know how many exactly I'm going to talk about. We're just going to talk about them and then I'll have a number at the end. But the first one is going to be hospital or medical dramas. There was a time that I watched a lot of medical TV, and I think that's the main point there, where I used to, probably back in high school around 2013, 2014, when I watched so much of this TV that I think I just got bored of it. Like honestly, I think my taste has just changed a little bit. So when people recommend shows like Hospital Playlist, I know quite a few of you guys have recommended me to watch that. It has nothing to do with actual medical practice, like cutting people open doesn't gross me out or anything. I think I've just watched so much of it at one point and now I don't feel like watching more. Like I really do think this one is just because my tastes have changed. Next one is food. A couple recent ones that are coming to mind is like Chocolate. That's a Netflix original, and then also Sweet Munchies, I think it's called, is like one of the main ones on the Viki banner right now. And I don't have any interest in watching a drama about chefs or about people in like the cooking, like the restaurant business. Like I just which is funny because like I absolutely loved Itaewon Class, but that to me was not really a food show. It was more of like an underdog, revenge, coming of age story. So it wasn't really about the food, where I think that's what really turns me off, was when I read these synopsises for other shows, they just have such an emphasis on the character's occupation as someone who like cooks, and I'm just not really interested. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love food. I don't necessarily find watching people cook food all that interesting. Or romantic. A lot of these shows are romances. So the third one is political shows. Political heavy shows. Like Chief of State. Someone was really hoping I would watch that one a while ago, Chief of State. Even like historical dramas that have a big focus on like the political maneuvering of the court. I think it just gets too bogged down for me. Like I think it's just too plot driven and not enough character. And I think for me, I'm really drawn to those shows that are character driven and less about the plot. So when I have to sit there and really invest so much time to really focusing 100% on everything the characters are saying, and less about like the overall feelings, I kind of just get tired. So the next one would be horror, and I don't actually think there's a lot of horror K-dramas out there. A lot of the times K-drama horrors I think go hand in hand with the supernatural like ghost genre, which I do find really interesting, but if there were to be just a strictly like horror genre, like I'm not I'm not in for that. Like I want to enjoy my time and not feel threatened. Next we're going to talk about crime. I'm interested in crime in theory. I have some schooling in criminology, but for the most part, if I'm watching a crime genre TV show, it's a bit lacking for me. And I think it goes back to an earlier point where I'm really more focused on emotions and character-driven dramas than the actual plot of it all. Like you can give me the most boring scenario possible, but if I really like the characters and if I really like their interactions, I'm gonna be invested, I'm gonna be intrigued, I'm going to want to watch more. But a lot of these crime genres, I think it's too heavy and bogged down by like the logistics of everything, which is kind of similar to why I don't like political shows. Man, this really makes me sound like I don't want to think very much about my media, but that's not the case. I don't want to think about things that don't have a consequence to my characters. That could be different if the crime genre, say the character is like trying to find the murderer of his loved ones or something, then that just makes it a little bit more personal. But if it's just like, so it is very episodic, very like crime of the week or monster of the week-esque, and I'm just not really into that. So the last genre I'm going to talk about is bullying. And this is kind of a new one for me. I didn't realize this was going to be a genre that I'm not interested in anymore, but I just finished watching School 2015. I am gonna do a full review on that. Near the end of School 2015, I just realized that bullying is really not something that I'm interested in watching anymore. And I think it's because it's just become an oversaturated genre. It's an oversaturated trope within K-dramas. And at first, when I first was introduced to bullying in the way that Korea presents it, I was like absolutely shocked, because the intensity of this kind of bullying and how like actually physically violent it is really surprised me. And I would never ever, I don't think ever I saw that type of violence going to school. Like, we had bullying, but it was much more verbal. Guys definitely fought. Like, there was definitely, I think, 3 fist fights I can remember from high school, but that's like 3 years. Like 3 years there was like a fist fight once a year, and then in middle school there was probably 1 or 2 as well. But it was just not a common thing. Like, people didn't throw eggs at each other or like pull out each other's hair. Like, that just didn't happen where I went to school. So like, it was shocking to me at first, and now it's just a bit draining, and I just don't know if I enjoy it very much. Like, I don't really relate to that intense form of bullying. Like, and I don't know if I want to talk about this, but I have also been bullied, but again, not to that physical extent. My bullying was more directed at the fact that I had a learning disability. I'm just a bit tired of seeing that one type of bullying, which is a weird thing to ask for, that I want more diversity in my bullying representation. Not to say that I don't enjoy school-age TV, because if you give me this really beautiful story about friendship and coming of age, like, I really love adolescence. Just because I'm done with the bullying side of school dramas does not mean I'm gonna stop watching school dramas, because I think they offer a lot of other really valuable lessons and like critiques on society and stuff. So let me know down below if you guys have a few genres that you just don't watch. And that's not to say that they can't be done well or that you can't enjoy them, just overall you're just not really intrigued by these types of genres. I'd be really curious to know, do you share any of the ones that I don't really care for, or are you on the complete other spectrum of me and you absolutely love all of these? Have a good day, have a good night, bye.